Alright, it's Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 and 2. This is a collection of all the Mega Man games from Mega Man 1 through 10 from NES, Super NES, PlayStation, and Wii. And today I'm going to review it, and then I'm going to review all of the Mega Man games in Part 2. Let's get started on Mega Man Legacy Collection. So the collection comes in two parts. The first part is Mega Man's 1 through 6 on the NES. The second collection is Mega Man 7 through 10 from Super Nintendo, PlayStation, and Wii. And I think the Wii games ended up on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 eventually as well. So these collections, I bought them as a pair. The score, 9 out of 10. I am very happy with this collection. I'm going to talk a little bit about the ups and downs of each of the two collections and give you a quick understanding of why I gave a 9 out of 10. So Big Pro, Collection 1 has some really good extra features. You can actually rewind and there's a turbo mode that gets rid of all the flicker and slowdown that you would have had on the real NES game. You can also play it like it's the original NES games, but after trying turbo out, I go back and forth once in a while, but I always end up staying on turbo because it's just a more fun experience to me. But rewind also really helps you out. I avoided it while I was playing through Mega Man 1 for the most part, but the Yellow Devil, a really bad boss near the end of that game, I used it a lot on him. And I used it to help me get through sort of a couple of quick turbo playthroughs of Mega Man 2 and 3 since it's been a long time since I touched those two games. So yeah, those two features are really good. Here's an example of rewind right off the bat. The other thing on Collection 1 is some great bonus content. There's enemy compendiums complete with click on the boss and battle him directly in game. So that's a cool feature. And there's a museum full of everything from instruction manuals to ads to promotional materials that went out for these games back in the day. There is a lot of bonus material on here, and it's pretty cool. It's like a little Mega Man museum. Collection 2. The games are a wee bit less formulaic, would be my pro for the second collection. So Mega Man 1 through 6, everyone who lived through the NES era knows that by Mega Man 5, 6 for sure, a lot of us were thinking, okay, there's another one every year. Can they do something new with this series, or is it always going to be like this, right? Collection 2, you see a little more change in the games. You see at least graphical advancements from going to Super Nintendo and PlayStation. But I'd also say there's a little more attempt to mix things up in some of those later games. So it's going to feel less like playing the same 6 games that are all kind of almost identical. Collection 2 also offers better graphics and some modest gameplay innovations. It doesn't, like I said, there's a little more variety in these games, but they didn't really change the base gameplay of Mega Man goes out, fights bosses in whatever order you feel like, and collects their powers to make his life easier for the next level.
I'm doubling over the next little bit because something went wrong with my mic. So big con, the Legacy Collection Part 2 is not on the cart. Okay, there's a lot of materials on these carts, but I don't get why you couldn't fit 10 really old, small games onto one cart. Mega Man 8 would be the biggest by far as a CD-ROM game. On the other hand, both collections have save, which is a great feature to have. The NES games had a password system that was pretty good for its time, but it's nice not to have to deal with them anymore. I'll also add that you can only have one save file per game. That's not that big of a deal, though, with the password system available to sort of bypass that. On the con side, no Game Boy or Genesis games. As I recall, most of the Genesis games were sort of remixes or redos of the NES games. Many of the Game Boy games were as well, but I know Mega Man 4 and 5, for instance, on on Game Boy, were considered quite good, so it's too bad they're not on here. There's one last comment I wanted to make. This didn't really affect the review as far as I'm concerned, but both games have challenge modes with like boss rushes and remixes of the different games as shown here. You've got some Mega Man 2 transforming into Mega Man 4, I believe. These are really cool, personally, and they could extend the value of the collection if you're really into a Mega Man. But for me, I'm just interested in playing the main games. For replay value, I mean, overall, you've got 10 games. These range from good to classic, and there's probably around 100 hours of gameplay here just going through the games themselves, before hitting the remixes and the boss rushes. I will note the challenge level for most of this series is quite high. It would be NES hard, so to speak. So if you're not up to the more challenging games, you might want to rethink this one. But I really enjoyed it, and I loved the bonus material as well.
So for value, I would give this game about $85 Canadian or 67 US. Really, basically, I'm saying it's worth as much as a modern AAA game. If you don't believe that Mega Man is worth that much, let me throw out that not only are there 10 classic games here, but Mega Man 7 on Super Nintendo is now going for $500 US complete in box and around $263 loose. So you could save a big chunk of money by just buying this collection. I only paid $40 for it, by the way, so I think this collection's a great deal. I would definitely suggest checking it out if you have any interest in Mega Man or shooting games if you've never played Mega Man.
If you're interested in checking out some of the games from this collection, part 2 of my review is going to review several of the games and give impressions on all of them. Check it out.